Today I'm doing some cemetery revisits on some stone cleanings that I've had going on for the last year or so. And for the people who support my work and donate to that cause, I'm going to visit some places that I've never videoed before, just to show some of the progress that we're making. So come along. This is the location of the Dyke Cemetery. It's out off of Highway 1189 in eastern Laurel County. And had a couple sample stones I did here at this cemetery. And I'll put a couple of photos in right here to show you the progress that these stones are making on a comeback. And while we're here, we'll clean everything at this little cemetery. Here are the before and after photos of two sample stones that I did. So you can see there is progress being made, and while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and coat, treat every stone here. I was last here in October of 2021. The old trusty backpack sprayer will get to work here and treat the stones in this cemetery. Okay, with everything now treated here at the McFadden Cemetery, we'll be off to the next location out here, also on 1189, which is called the Union Cemetery. This is the Union Cemetery out off of Highway 1189 in Laurel County. Sits on this hillside here, and I was last here October of 2021 where I started cleaning a number of the older white marble stones down here at the bottom. I'll show you a couple pictures of how a couple of those are progressing and try to retreat all of these white marble stones today as well. Okay, so that's the second coat to most of the, well, to all of the older marble stones here. Another added note here, this is a very rare instances, one of two that I know of where a Union and Confederate soldier are pretty close together. Only one place that I know of where they're side by side, but this is a Confederate soldier, died in 1890, and right here up next to him is a Union soldier. Both of them by the name of Hammock. Well, that's going to wrap us up here. We'll be off to the next location at Laurel River Cemetery. Well, the next stop along the way is here along the banks of the Laurel River, out off of Highway 1189, which brings us to the next cemetery location, which is the Laurel River Cemetery. I was last here in October of 2021, and before that, September of 2021, allowing 30 days between sprayings. It's been about a year. And I've sprayed every white marble stone here. I don't have any before and after pictures to show you, so you'll kind of have to take my word for it. But here are some examples of some stones that are coming back really, really well. There could be some photos out there on Find a Grave of what they looked like before, but they're really making a good comeback. When I started on this particular roll, well, and for that matter, all of the white marbles here, they were very dark. And today will be the third coating for these stones, and then we'll allow time and the elements to take it from there. But these are definitely looking much whiter. That's a Civil War stone. They're starting to look much, much better. Laurel River may not be the oldest graves in Laurel County, but certainly among the oldest graves in Laurel County, as a settlement developed out in here back in the late 1700s, closely adjacent to Boone Trace. So this is what I would consider to be a pioneer cemetery. A lot of the unmarked graves would be testament to a pioneer cemetery that developed in the community back at that time. Boone Trace is probably 1.5 miles, 2 miles from this location. But if I were making a list of pioneer cemeteries in Laurel County, Laurel River would certainly be one of them. So what we're going to do today is make our way around and put a third coat on all the white marble stones here. After you have applied the product, sometimes the stones will take on an orangey, brownish streaking look, which is very normal. It just means the product is saturating in and attacking all of the biological product things that are the molds and the mosses and that are inside the pores of the stone. So I'm looking to see big things happen with this stone in the next 6 or 8 months. It should make a great comeback. So that's going to about wrap it up here from Laurel River Cemetery. On to the next one. Next stop is the small family cemetery called the Evans Cemetery, southeastern Laurel County, where this will be the second coat that I've applied to these stones here. This is the Elam Cemetery down in Lilly off of John Parker Road, and definitely an oldie. There are a number of graves here from the 1800s, but I suspect there are graves here from the probably late 1790s, although they're not marked. You won't find a death date in Laurel County, at least none that I've ever seen, a death date from the 1790s. But the Elam is definitely a pioneer cemetery. These people settled within 1 mile or so, 1.5 miles of Boone Trace, and this will be the second time I've sprayed these stones. There are a number of unmarked scattered throughout. Late 1700s, early 1800s here at the Elam. There's an indentation in the ground there, which you can see quite well. Another one over here. Indentation in the ground marked with an old fieldstone. These stones have made a really good comeback. They were very dark when I started on them, and they're making a good comeback. Another indentation, an old grave with a couple of old field stones marking the grave. And this one here, quite sunken into the ground. You can kind of get an idea of that. And the old stone right up against the base of this tree. There's a lot of old graves in here. An old footstone and headstone, just far enough apart to be the burial place of a child here. And another one right here next to the kitty cat. Headstone and a little footstone right there. There are a number of these scattered throughout the cemetery. One over here. There's the footstone and the headstone. Elam is definitely a historic cemetery. One of several across the county. When you start looking around here, there's just tons of old unmarked graves. Here's one right here, right there. Here's a stone here. There's a stone here with a grave there. There's a sunken spot right here where someone's constructed a wooden cross. A grave here. And you look around, grave there. Here's an old grave here. Grave there. Over here. Get over around these trees, there are stones and sunken spots. There's a sunken spot right there. Stone there. Here. Sunken spot running right through here. Unmarked stone here. At one time looked like it had been carved. Gravestone there. Sunken spot right there. So there are dozens of old graves here, and some interesting carved stones too. Interesting carving there. Interesting carving there. Elam Cemetery, definitely one of Laurel County's pioneer cemeteries. That's an 1850s grave. There's an 1842 grave. One of my favorites is the old casket-shaped tombstone. (1844). 1850. So I would, Elam is definitely a pioneer cemetery here in Laurel County. And finishing up the second coat here today. If you've ever driven out Philpott Road in London, you've probably seen this brick wall here next to a beautiful home. You probably assumed that it was a swimming pool, but it's not. It's the Samson Cemetery. The Samson Cemetery, I imagine, was named after a family that probably owned this land, and therefore so named the cemetery. And back in the back, as you drop down the hill, there is Samson Creek. So this is the Samson Cemetery, and this will be the second time I've coated these stones. You can already see the white marbles look much whiter than the first time I was here. In the cemetery there are McGee's, Taylors, Freemans. I can only assume that a lot of the unmarked graves were probably members of the Samson family, because the unmarked graves definitely outnumber the marked ones. Just a number of them scattered throughout this small cemetery. So, second coat is on the stones. There's a couple of 3 stones that need to be worked on and uprighted or secured in some manner. That's probably for another day. That's the Samson Cemetery. One of the more interesting locations of a cemetery in Laurel County is in River Bend Estates. The cemetery is called the Davis Cemetery, and it's located behind private property. You have to walk through the property line of 2 properties to get to it. So I generally, when I visit here, I walk between two homes, sort of straddle the property line to get back here to the cemetery in the back. Back here in the back, in the edge of the woods, is the Dyke Cemetery. Here we are. It's just a small plot. Started burying people here at around 36. With graves in the 30s and 40s and 50s, and even graves into the 70s. And the earliest grave from 1980 from River Bend subdivision. You just never know where they're gonna pop up. You never know where a cemetery is gonna be. If you were to continue through the woods right there, you'd walk straight down to the Laurel River. The Dyke Cemetery. Well, the last stop of spraying stones today is here in A.R. Dyke, down on the bottom of the property. You probably noticed some old stones down here at the on the bottom road at A.R. Dyke, back toward where the stock sales used to be. These are relocated graves. The first section here is the Baker Chestnut Cemetery. Originally the Baker Graveyard. It was relocated in July of 1997 from the intersection of Highway 363 and 192, about where they built Dairy Queen, and that little development in there is where these graves used to be. And they've been coated twice, and we're going to get them a third time today. The other relocated cemetery is here on this end. This was called the Maury Cemetery. It was relocated in 2002 from down off of Highway 1189 in Ferriston. So some of these have made a really good comeback, and they're looking much better. For example, this stone was very, very dark around the etching in the middle, and it's lightened up a whole lot, as was that one and that one. And you can start to see the old marbles coming back. So that's our last stop today along the way. We'll get these sprayed. People ask sometime about donating to help purchase chemical to spray stones. I've had dozens and dozens of people donate. If you feel inclined or led to do so, I'll leave Venmo and PayPal accounts in the description. And if you feel like you want to donate, I would appreciate the help, as so many people have done before. A little update I'd like to give you down here toward the south gate at A.R. Dyke. Usually if you see old stones like this in a newer section, that's an indication that those graves were moved in here, and that is the case with the Morin graves. All of these Morin graves that you see here came from the middle of the Daniel Boone Parkway over around 84 Lumber. And this just shows you the progress that the cleaning solution makes. These stones were just black about 3 years ago when I started treating these, and you can see a remarkable improvement. These were sprayed 3 times. If you've got the patience to wait, it does work over time. These were all just very dark, and they all came back nicely. So, until next time, thank you for watching.